Welcome to my channel. Today we are going to hear about the Forgotten Room. This is a true story that was never supposed to be told. It was an old abandoned house at the end of a dirt road deep in the woods. It had been empty for 25 years after the family who lived there mysteriously disappeared without a trace. And according to local legend, it was haunted by their ghosts. Everyone in town knew about the house, and the story only in whispers and rumors. But nobody really knew exactly what happened all those years ago. The sheriff's investigation turned up no leads, and eventually they just closed the case with the bizarre verdict of hikers missing and not presumed dead. Years later, the house was still standing, but now overgrown and crumbling. One day, a young couple decided to explore the abandoned home and uncover the truth of what happened here all those years ago. But what they found inside was nothing like they expected, and it changed everything. Hello and welcome back to another episode. Now, before we begin, I need to let you know this isn't a scary story. Well, maybe it is, but there are no jump scares, no sudden loud noises, and nothing meant to upset or disturb you. But if you are sensitive to flashing lights or flickering images, I need to warn you that this may cause discomfort or even nausea. So please be aware and take care of yourselves while watching. With that out of the way, let's get started. The old house stood at the end of a dirt road off a barely traveled backwoods path. Reaching it required a hike through thick woods and across a gurgling creek over a rickety footbridge. It took them almost an hour to reach the house from their car, and the overgrown path practically disappeared the deeper they went into the woods. Finally reaching the old porch steps, they could see how large the home once was. But now one side had collapsed, revealing the dark gaping hole where the roof had caved in. Vines and creeping ivy covered the peeling paint and chipped wood, slowly consuming the structure with nature reclaiming the yard. As they approached the front door, the wind picked up, rustling the dead leaves at their feet and whizzing through the gaps between the rotting floorboards. It felt like the home itself was sighing, letting out a long-forgotten breath after being sealed away for so long. They paused for a moment listening to the distant sounds of birds and the rushing creek nearby. Then Mark knocked on the door, the sound echoing unnaturally in the stillness. They waited. No response. Of course, they weren't expecting anyone to answer, but it felt like the silence was pressing against their ears, amplifying every creak and groan of the aging structure. After taking a few more pictures, they pushed open the door and stepped inside. Inside the house, dust motes danced in the weak sunlight filtering through the holes in the roof. The air was heavy with the scent of decay and damp wood. They walked further into the house, noting the faded wallpaper and the random items left behind, frozen in time. An old rocking chair gently swaying as if someone had just gotten up from it. A half-written letter lying on a desk as though the writer had just stepped away for a moment. The clock on the mantel frozen at 12:34. These details only added to the sense of mystery surrounding the house. It felt like they were intruding on a moment in time that was never supposed to be disturbed. They continued exploring, each room they entered deepening the enigma of what had happened here. The photographs they took revealed more than just dust and decay. Strange shapes and shadows seemed to lurk in the corners of their images, faces that shouldn't be there appearing behind people in old photographs. Some of the photos were even corrupted, the digital images glitching and distorting, as if the house itself was rejecting their intrusion into its past. In one of the bedrooms, they discovered a diary lying on an old wooden chest. Its leather cover was soft and worn, the pages brittle and yellowed with age. As they began reading, they found themselves immersed in the story of a young girl named Lily and her family. The entries spoke of everyday life in the early 1900s, of chores and school, and the changing seasons. But as the weeks passed, the tone of the diary entries changed. Lily began writing of strange occurrences in the house, of objects moving on their own, of whispers in the night. She spoke of feeling watched, of a growing darkness that seemed to be consuming her family. The final entry was dated March 18, 1947. It simply read, "I am so scared. The others are gone now, and I am all alone. I can hear them scratching at the walls, trying to get in. I don't know how much longer I can hold out. Lily." As they read the last line, a cold wind suddenly swept through the room, causing the windows and doors to rattle in their frames. The temperature seemed to drop, and a sense of dread washed over them. They quickly closed the diary, their imaginations running wild. Outside, the sky had darkened, and the wind had become a howling gale. Large branches scraped against the house, sounding like fingernails on a chalkboard. Thunder rumbled in the distance, and the sound of rain pattering on the roof grew steadily louder. Suddenly, a loud crash from upstairs made them jump. They looked at each other, their eyes wide with fear. Mark grabbed Sarah's hand, his grip tight. "We have to go," he whispered, his voice shaking. But as they started to move, another sound stopped them in their tracks. It was a low, guttural growl, like an animal caught in a trap. Then silence. They listened intently, their hearts pounding in their chests. When they heard nothing more, they fled the house, stumbling over each other in their haste to get away. Back in the safety of their car, they recounted the experience, their voices hushed. They agreed to never return to that house, to never speak of what they had seen and heard. But as the days passed, the memory of that house and its horrors continued to haunt them. But before we go any further, I need to ask you to do something very important for me. Please don't forget to take care of yourself. If this has been a difficult year for you, if you feel lost or alone, please reach out for help. There are people who care about you and want to support you. You are not alone. Now let's continue. Years later, they learned that the house had burned to the ground just a few months after their visit. Investigators believe that a lightning strike was the cause. But some residents claimed that it was the spirits of the house finally finding peace. Since then, the lot has remained empty, a somber reminder of the town's forgotten past. But the story doesn't end there. After hearing the tale of the abandoned house, a local paranormal investigator decided to look into it further. He discovered a series of old photographs online depicting the home and its inhabitants, confirming much of what Lily had written in her diary. He also found a faded newspaper clipping detailing the mysterious disappearance of the family, highlighting the strange inconsistencies in the case. The sheriff's investigation had been thorough, yet somehow they had overlooked crucial evidence. This discovery prompted him to launch his own investigation into the case, hoping to find answers where the authorities had failed. As he delved deeper into the mystery, he uncovered a hidden layer of secrets and lies, revealing a shocking truth. What had been believed to be a simple case of hikers going missing was actually something far more sinister. The family hadn't vanished. They had been taken, their disappearance meticulously planned, and their trail deliberately erased. He confronted the family's neighbors, seeking any new information. One elderly woman recalled seeing a strange car parked near the house on the day the family disappeared. The car was unlike any other vehicle in town, an unfamiliar make and model that had turned back. The sheriff's investigation had missed this detail entirely. The news of the mysterious car reached the local police, reigniting their interest in the cold case. With renewed vigor, they revisited the site, combing through the evidence once again. This time they were prepared to uncover the truth. Their investigation led them to a remote area of the woods near the creek. Using search dogs, they began the arduous process of scouring the ground. Days turned into weeks with no significant breakthrough. Just when their hopes began to dwindle, a sharp-eyed officer spotted something unusual, a piece of metal half buried in the soil. It was a license plate, tarnished with age, but still legible. The numbers and letters spelled out the name of the car seen parked outside the house on the day the family vanished. Their investigation had reached a pivotal point. With the license plate in hand, the police began tracking down the owner, hoping to finally solve the decades-old mystery. But as they closed in on the truth, they realized that some secrets are best left buried. So I'll ask you, what do you think happened? To the family, let me know in the comments. And if you liked this story, please subscribe.